Stop Killing Games and Does It Play have joined an ongoing legal effort in the Netherlands against Sony's monopoly over digital game sales on its platform. The lawsuit primarily concerns digital game pricing. The end of physical media has exacerbated worries over Sony's ability to fix its own prices. They stated, PlayStation's ability to set its own digital prices is a big part of why we're so concerned about the end of discs. On PC, where digital has been the standard for decades, there are at least a variety of different stores that can compete against each other to offer different prices on digital games. On PlayStation, the prices are set by Sony and their third-party partners. So guys, the conversation that has sparked from Sony announcing they are ending the production of their physical disc games, it's kind of caused me to reconsider the state of physical media, how we got to this point, and the approaching digital future, and how this might affect us as customers going forward. Let's get into it. First off, I want to go back in time a little bit, hop in the time capsule, and revisit some memories of mine. Being able to purchase video games on discs, this was a mystical time in my life as a young child. Being able to visit this magical store, which was GameStop, which housed hundreds, even thousands of games at the time, which could whisk me off into new worlds. This was an amazing experience, and it truly had me enthralled. GameStop felt like one of those few places that understood everything about the hobby that I loved. I could go in and not really feel like I might be judged for nerding out over a game, but also having the option to trade in games I had finished and purchase pre-owned games for a discounted price, it felt like I was being rewarded for interacting within the GameStop ecosystem. And not to mention at the time having pro rewards and Game Informer magazines coming to my mailbox every month, I was truly roped into the gaming ecosystem through GameStop. But fast forward to the modern day, post-COVID, and my local GameStop is filled with Funko Pops and collectibles, not games. The GameStop I once knew and loved had changed into something completely different. GameStop has been shifting their sales model for 6 to 8 years at least. Another local game store for me, Game Exchange, has also shifted from a gaming first store to more of a pawn shop, accepting things like TVs, laptops, graphics cards, monitors, movies, posters, toys even, but they would also sell more games than a traditional pawn shop would, which would have an inventory of usually like jewelry, guns. I bring this up to say that a lot of traditional gaming stores have had to shift their sales models to try and make up for the lack of discs that they had been selling. As much as I hate to admit it, for most people, the luxury of buying a game digitally outweighs the security that comes with going out and getting a game on disc. Even though I don't buy all my games on disc, these days I usually will only get a physical copy of a game or a series that I really enjoy, or games that I loved as a kid. Games like Drive Club, the Persona series, God of War, Armored Core, Killzone, Metal Gear Solid. I've got all these games on disc. These are games that really shaped me and shaped how I interact with the gaming hobby as a whole. So I definitely had to buy these games on disc just as a way to relive some of my old childhood memories. But as far as some other games are concerned, a lack of a wide selection of games at stores near me, paired with the just simple convenience of not having to go out, I can just turn on my PS5 and go buy a new game. These things have really reduced my physical purchases drastically. Buying disc games at a brick and mortar store, especially PS3, PS4 games, for me this has become increasingly difficult as each year passes. I mean, it's nearly impossible for me to find a copy of a Dark Souls game on disc in my area. But as I say this, digital purchasing has been trending upward for years now. It's not uncommon for people to order their food or groceries online and have them delivered to them. Convenience and ease of access are extremely powerful, and they generate a lot of money for large corporations. So having these things in mind, I can't help but wonder, are we fighting the good fight? Are we fighting the right fight? Sony has stated already they've heard all of the loud complaints, all of the outcries, and they're still deciding to march forward and kill physical disc production. You know, clearly they're ready to take the monetary hit that ending disc production would bring. With the growing number of people that buy digital games, the growing number of people subscribing to PlayStation Plus, Sony's going to be bringing in more money because they don't have to produce or ship anything physical. No disc, no plastic case, no little slip of paper that tells you to subscribe to PlayStation Plus. And that little slip of paper, by the way, used to be a thick manual with information about the game that you could read while you're driving back to your house. But, I digress. I'm sure, I am more than positive that Sony is willing and ready to alienate and cut off the group of their audience that will leave if they continue forward with this decision. They've made that much clear by their lack of hesitation in the midst of their fans' cries to stop. So maybe the best course of action moving forward is to fight for better protections as consumers. If we're forced to continue into a digital-only future, currently on PlayStation, we have a very limited and not at all consumer-friendly refund policy for digital games. I might even go as far to say it's consumer mean and very rude. Right now, refunds are limited, and even if you download a game, you're ineligible to receive a refund. So if you buy a game, it doesn't perform well, has game-breaking bugs, or, leaves you disappointed, too bad, buddy. You got to deal with it. Digital pricing on the PlayStation Store is also pretty aggressive. For older PS4 games that rarely get discounted, you would end up paying crazy prices for some super old games. And in some situations, especially with like older sports games in particular, they don't even show up on the digital storefront. Old Madden games, old FIFA, 2K games, they just aren't available to buy digitally after a certain period of time. So if you really loved an older sports game, you either have to own it digitally already or try to find a disc. In my case, Madden 17 was my first Madden game as a kid. Obviously, I traded it in once the new game came out. However, as I've gotten a little bit older, I've been wanting to revisit that old game just to relive my childhood a little bit, but I don't even have the option to buy the game digitally. It's not on the PlayStation Store. So I'm left looking on Facebook Marketplace, searching the Eastern Bay for a copy of Madden 17. It really sucks, and I do think this is a fringe case. I don't think, a large majority of people are out here looking for old sports games, but in the current climate, it's kind of eye-opening. You try and look and search for these old games and you can't find a game that you love. It adds insult to injury, really. PlayStation has also been testing targeted price discounts and increases depending on certain variables like account age, spending habits, etc. We also really don't own games right now that we buy digitally. PC has been digital first for a long time, and at least on Steam or GOG with most titles, we can truly own the games that we buy digitally. I mean, if you really wanted to, on PC, you can download your games and burn them onto discs, just so you can relive that physical experience. Not to mention the added benefit on PC of not having to pay a subscription fee every month just to play games online. Man, how much I hope and pray that PlayStation and Xbox can adopt a similar model. I know that's not ever going to happen, but, one can hope, right? But if we move forward and we don't fight for certain digital consumer protections, we will be left in the worst possible scenario. No more discs, no digital refunds, and no digital ownership. But the future looks bleak right now, right? But we can fight for a better tomorrow. These mega corporations could not care less about your attachment to disc games. They could not care less about how many memories you have made playing games. To them, you are just another statistic, another dollar. If we let them have their way, we would be paying a subscription just to turn on the console. But that's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, drop a like. If you didn't like, dislike it. But let me know down in the comments below, what's your local gaming market like? You have a good selection of physical games? Is that not the case? Are you more like me, where it's hard to find games physically at local stores? What do you think about Sony and their continuation, their doubling down of a digital future? Anyways, I'll see ya.